Good morning, Big Poppy in the house. I'm going to show a few things today. We have a good question that's been asked by a gentleman out there that just now started reloading. He's probably 3 to 4 weeks in. And instead of me trying to type it and try to respond and be accurate so it makes sense, I thought maybe it would be better if I just showed you. And I think, you know, these are things that I learned over the years too. So I want to show you a couple of tricks of the trade and how you can correct some of the things that you're actually going through right now. Now if I can just get the camera. Okay, what Steve's did is he bought his first press and he was in the process of reloading 223. And if you notice on the resizing and decapping, you know, it looks pretty similar. It's got a pin that shoots out the bottom of it. So Steve, what he did is he had already bought a universal decapping die as well. And if you put those side by side with each other, they identically look exactly the same. But what Steve did is, instead of using the resizing decap, he chose to go to his universal decapping die, and that caused a problem because he was able to reload some of the brass, but he had problems on the rest of it. And here's why. You cannot use a decapping die for resizing. And if you pull the pin out, you'll see that it's pretty small in diameter. Okay, got a pin still. But here's the difference with a resizing pin that goes in your die. And it typically, you'll see, and it's supposed to have a pin on, but I'm going to show you what I did to try to help him out. This rod here, this pin, is not the same. If you look down here, this dimension right here is thicker than the top of this here that goes into the nut that fits down into the die. Okay? So what happened is, and I made a couple things here just to show you. See this round thing here? This little part right here, like I said, is thicker than here. So what was happening is when he put that, just that resizing die on, he was actually getting used the die that had the skinny one, and it would go through and it would allow him to decap it. But the problem, Steve, is you did not actually resize the neck of the 223 brass. Okay? And you can see that because in this example right here, you can see that it's not going in all the way. So this is exactly the same scenario that you was in, just using the decapping die and not with the correct pin. Okay, you'll notice it doesn't go all the way in. Okay, so now what I want to do is we're going to take this and, okay, so now what happens is you've got some of your brass that you can use, and then you got the other brass that's like this, and when you go to set your bullet, what happens is you're crunching the top of this because the neck is not sized correctly. And I might as well even show you, I made a couple things that what would happen. If you don't resize the neck of it correctly and you're starting to put the bullet on the top to seat that, here's what you're going to get because you did not take the case and resize the point here to open up to resize it of the case. So this is what you're going to get. Alright, now the situation that you have, and you asked a very good question. Do I have to take all of my rounds, the brass that I've got in process and the primers are already in them, what can I do about that problem? Okay, here's what you can do. If you have an extra pin, and it sounded like when you were trying to go through the first one is that what caused you to go to the universal decapping rod is because you had it and it looked the same to you. So what you can do now is, if you've got one that was bent or something, okay, what you can do is cut that pin off at the end of this rod. Okay? Take and sand this, grind it down real good, and here's what you'll be able to do. Put this in your die. Hopefully you guys can see this right. And go ahead and tighten it in your die. Okay, now what you're going to do, Steve, is take, and here's an example of it that they're not sized correctly. And again, you know, you took and you cut the pin off. Okay, put this back in your show plate holder, raise this up, bring it back down, and now this case is a true resize, and guess what? You don't have to take all the primers out. You can use the case itself without going back and decapping all those brand new primers that you got, and you will be able to use that case now. Okay? So again, the decapping pin is smaller than your resizing pin in a 223 die. So I hope that helps out, and then that way you'll be able to go ahead and use those cases that you've already got all brand new primers in. And another thing too, Steve, hey, while you're learning, you're going to have a lot of things that happen, and I've already learned it, and I've already been there, and it sometimes come back and bite me in the butt too. Here is two examples of where I didn't have, and you'll notice on my videos, I don't go back and re-edit or anything. What you see on the tape is reality, what happens. You've seen me in my tapes where I've dropped cases on the floor. You've seen where I've got the brass jammed up in the die and can't get it out. I show you that. That's real time, that's real world, and that's how we learn. You give me a book and tell me to read it and do something, a little bit more difficult, but if you show me, it makes it a lot easier. And you'll see, look, this pin right here for decapping is bent all the way over. This was actually bent all the way off, and I just broke it off. Now, keep a couple of these, and you can use them for other things in other videos that I'm going to show you how you could utilize these for some other tricks of the trade of things you may run into. So, Steve, remember, a stupid question is one that's not asked. Ask as many questions as you want. I know when I first started out, I was not bashful, and there's some real good reloaders out there that, I mean, they know this stuff like the back of their hand, and they've been doing it for years. So hopefully it helps, and if you have any questions or I haven't clarified anything for me, please let me know. And good shooting, and thank you.